Hi everyone! Minasan, konnichiwa. Are you ready to improve your English by breaking into the world of phrasal verbs? My name is Jen, and today I'm going to break down 7 categories of phrasal verbs using the verb break. First, let's review what a phrasal verb is. A phrasal verb is when you take a verb, an action word, and then you add a preposition, such as in, on, at, from, to, with. And you put the verb and the preposition together and you can create a new meaning. So for example, a phrasal verb that I had in some of my other videos is this. There's 2 people, they're so happy, they're in love, but then they start fighting and now their relationship is finished. They broke up. So the verb break plus the preposition up together creates a new meaning. Okay? So in this case, they are no longer in a happy relationship because they broke up with each other. Phrasal verbs can be put into different verb tenses. They're not always in the simple present. Break is an irregular verb. So, reviewing, in the simple present, break or breaks. In the simple past, broke, and the past participle is broken. So please remember that that is how you can change the verb to use the phrasal verb in different verb tenses. Now, let's take a look at our 7 categories, 7 different phrasal verbs using the word break. The first one we're going to look at today is break up. Break up. So we already talked about to end a relationship is to break up. Break up means to separate. You can also use this verb, for example, maybe there are 2 students and they're fighting with each other and teachers have to break up the fight, right? So the teacher broke up the fight. Another meaning of break up is to separate something into smaller pieces. So I have a huge Pokemon card collection, but maybe I will break up my collection because I want to get money by selling some of my expensive cards, right? So I will break up my collection. Another common way that we use break up is this. You're talking on a cell phone, but you can't hear someone because your signal is breaking up. Sorry, what's that? I can't hear you. You're breaking up. Meaning the connection between you is not very smooth, right? So if my friend is going through a mountain, I can't hear them because our connection is breaking up. So our first phrasal verb from today was break up. Our second phrasal verb for today is break out. Break out. One meaning of break out is to escape from a place. So maybe I'm a criminal and I dig a hole in my jail cell with a spoon and I escape from jail. The prisoner broke out of jail. Another way we might use break out to mean escape is if we feel like we are trapped in our everyday daily routine. So we want to break out of a rut, we will say. Okay? So break out of a rut means that you don't want to stay doing your same old boring daily routine anymore and you want to do something different. So the prisoners broke out of jail and I really need to break out of this rut. Another meaning of breakout means to develop something and have something spread. For example, if you are allergic to strawberries and you eat a strawberry, your skin might start to get red and itchy and you can say you are breaking out in a rash. I hate exercising because I always break out in a sweat. I just suddenly start sweating and the sweat spreads and drips down. I break out in a sweat. And a final meaning for breakout is for something terrible that suddenly starts to happen. So for example, war broke out between the 2 countries. Forest fires have broken out in British Columbia. Firefighters are doing their best. So our second phrasal verb that we looked at was break out. Our third phrasal verb for today is break away. Break away. Break away also means to escape, but it means to escape from a person. So break out, escape from a place. Break away, escape from a person. So you could say the criminal broke away from the police as they were trying to handcuff him. Or the little boy broke away from his mother and jumped into the swimming pool. Or I was trying to take my dog for a walk when he broke away. Break away can also be used in sports. Break away means to separate yourself from a group, or a person is being separated from a group. So if I'm with a bunch of people and we're all running a race and running and running and running, and I break away from them, it means I'm no longer stuck in the pack, stuck with everyone else who's running, but I've gotten ahead of them and I've taken the lead, right? So Jen is running, she's running with the pack. She breaks away from the pack and she takes the lead and she comes into first place. Woo! The fourth phrasal verb that we're going to take a look at is break in. Break in means to enter some place illegally. You are forcing your way into a place without permission. So I could say, the criminal broke in my house and stole my laptop. Break in. Another meaning of break in means to interrupt someone. So if two people are having a conversation with each other and you break into the conversation, it means you are forcing your way into the conversation and interrupting the two people who are talking to each other. A third meaning of break in is to overcome the stiffness or overcome the newness of something. So for example, I got some really cool new shoes, but they're very stiff. They're not comfortable on my feet yet. So I need to wear the shoes a couple times in order to break them in. Phrasal verb number 5 is break into. Break into. Two meanings of break into are what we already looked at when we were talking about break in. So you can break in a building or break into a building. Break in a conversation or break into a conversation. Another meaning of break into is to suddenly and spontaneously do some kind of action. So if I'm just sitting here and then suddenly I'm breaking into laughter. I broke into laughter. Or if someone tells me some really sad news, I break into tears. Right? Or maybe I see a really cute puppy and I can't help but break into a smile. I finally broke into the business. Broke into the business. Another meaning of break into is to start having success in a very competitive field, a very competitive career or industry. So in an industry like acting and show business, it's very competitive. So if you're able to start getting your first professional jobs in that field, you can say you've broken into the business. You're able to start getting some work in that business. Or maybe you want to be a photographer and someone hires you to do some wedding photography. You're starting to break into the business. A final meaning of break into is to start using some money that you had set aside for a different purpose. So maybe I have a lot of bills to pay, so I need to break into my savings account. I need to break into my bank and take out the money so that I can pay my bills. The sixth phrasal verb we're going to take a look at with break is break off. To break off something means to separate it or detach it from the main part. So if I'm eating a delicious chocolate bar and my husband wants some of my chocolate, I will break off a piece of chocolate for him or for me. Here I have a bunch of bananas. So if I want one banana, I will break off a banana. I separated a piece from the whole. This is the first meaning of break off. Another meaning of break off means to end a relationship. So maybe you are dating someone and you think, I think I'm gonna have to break things off with Tom. Meaning you don't really want to be with Tom anymore. You want to break up with Tom, so you will break things off with Tom. Or maybe you are engaged to someone and then you think, you know what, I just can't marry this person. You're going to break off your engagement. You're going to end your engagement. So to end a romantic relationship, you are breaking off the relationship. And number 7, our last phrasal verb with break for today is break down. Break down. If something electronic breaks down, it means that it stops working. So you're driving, oh no, there is a problem with my car. My car is no longer working. My car broke down. Broke down. Or, I need to do laundry, but my washing machine broke down. Now I have to wash the clothes by hand. Another meaning of break down means to lose control of your emotions. Okay? So break out in tears, break out in laughter, but if you break down, you are just so overcome with sadness, with sorrow, with depression. You just, you can't control yourself anymore because you are so upset. So you are breaking down. I mentioned these two uses in breakdown in another video that I did recently about how prepositions can change the meaning of what you're trying to communicate. So if you haven't watched that video yet, you can check it out up here. Another meaning of breakdown is to analyze some kind of data or analyze some kind of problem and separate it into smaller pieces so that you can investigate them, analyze them, and explain what's happening. So for example, I needed to break down the problem before I was able to solve it. Or the other day, I called my internet company because I didn't understand some of the charges that were on my bill. So when I called the internet company, they broke down my bill for me. They explained each part in a manageable way that we could analyze and discuss together. Break down. Another meaning of break down means to dismantle something. They're breaking down that building over there. They're going to demolish it. Or, please break down your cardboard boxes before you put them in recycling. Break down your recycling. So today, we looked at 7 different phrasal verbs using the word break and talked about all the different meanings that go with each of those phrasal verbs. Break up, break out, break away, break in, break into, break off, break down. Those are the 7 different phrasal verbs that we looked at today. So remember, this may seem overwhelming, but when you are trying to learn new phrasal verbs, you can either learn them by verb, like we did today, or you can choose a category or a topic and try and learn phrasal verbs that are connected to that topic or that theme. For example, in the past, I have made videos about phrasal verbs for New Year's resolutions and phrasal verbs to describe your daily routines. So if you haven't watched those videos yet, you can check out them as well. Now it's time for Question of the Day. For today's question of the day, what I want you to do is try and use what you learned in today's lesson in the comments. So thinking about the 7 different phrasal verbs that we looked at today, please try and make sentences using these 7 different phrasal verbs with any of the meanings that we talked about. Then I will read your sentences. So it's a great way for you to practice and study what you have learned. So please let me know your sentences in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you found this video useful, please don't forget to hit subscribe and give me a thumbs up. Mina, thank you. Gambatte ne. Ja ne.